So in this video, we're going to go over simple binary. Your topic is simple binary. Your goal is I can write and name, or I can name and write, ionic compounds that contain main group elements. So far we've just talked about single elements. Now we're going to start getting into compounds, which if you remember, compounds have more than one element in it. So as a review, you need to know that ionic compounds has a metal and it has a nonmetal. You need to know that ionic compounds contain cations, which has a positive charge, and anions, which has a negative charge. You also need to know that subscripts indicate how many of each atom is contained in the compound. You also need to know that ions must be neutral, so the net charge equals 0. So for this, you need to write the steps for writing a simple binary ionic compound. The steps are: Step 1, write the charges for the elements that you are combining. Step 2, crisscross the charges and simplify. Step 3, the element that is a metal is written first. Step 4, look at the net charge to see if they equal out. And step 5, the end compound does not have to have the charge written out. Okay, so if you need to, go ahead and pause right here so you can finish writing out the steps, and then I'll go over this example with you. All right, so we're going to look at K and N. So first we need to write the charge for the elements we're combining. So we have K. We need to look at the periodic table and see what charge it has. So if we find K, K has a +1 charge. So +1 charge. And then we need to look at N. So N, if we find it, N has a -3 charge. -3 charge. Next thing we need to do is crisscross the charges. So this number 1, crisscrosses and goes with the nitrogen. And then the number 3 crisscrosses and go to the potassium. Now remember, 5, you do not have to have the charge written out. So when we crisscross these numbers, our new compound will be K3N, and then you could put the 1 if you want to, but you do not have to. And where I got that 1 crisscrossing goes with the N, the 3 crisscrosses and goes with the K. All right, nomenclature, how you name it. So for these compounds, the metal name goes first, and then you follow the name with the ion name of the nonmetal. So go ahead and write down the steps for how to name it, and then we're going to do some examples with you. So here are some examples. First, I have the name written down, and you need to write the compound. So you have sodium fluoride. So you look at your periodic table, sodium is Na. Then we need to find the charge, so we look for sodium. Sodium's in this first column, so that will be a +1 charge. So +1. And then fluoride. Well, fluoride ends in IDE, but the actual element we're looking at would be fluorine, because that's what it's talking about when it has an IDE. So it'll be F for fluorine. And then we look at our periodic table. Fluorine's in this column right here, which based off the other periodic table, that has a -1 charge. So -1 charge. So we are going to crisscross these charges. So the 1 is going to go with fluorine, and then this 1 up here with fluorine is going to go with sodium. So since they're both 1, that'll actually make it pretty easy. It'll be NaF. Now remember, you can write the ones if you want to, but you do not have to. So since we crisscross, that one goes with the fluorine, that one goes with the sodium. Since they're both ones, it would just be NaF. So let's do beryllium sulfide. So beryllium is Be. We go to the periodic table, find the charge. Be is right here in this second column. Since it's in the second column, it will have a +2 charge. So Be is +2. And then sulfide is sulfur. So we'll look at sulfur on the periodic table, and it is right here in the second column over, because we're not counting the noble gases. So second column over, which means it has a -2 charge. So -2. So we're going to crisscross. This 2 goes with the S, and this 2 goes with the Be. So that means we would have Be2S2. Now, one thing we need to check, if these numbers are ever the same, you will need to simplify them. So since they're the same, it just simplifies down to 1, which you don't have to write out. So that would just be BeS. All right, the last example. Potassium has a symbol of K. So we find K on our periodic table. That's in this first group, so it has a +1 charge. Oh, wait. This is the one we did up here, K nitrogen, or K nitride. So we're not going to worry about that one. All right, so these last two we're just going to name. I'll show you how to name them. So here you have CaCl. Let me fix these for you real quick. All right, so now that I have fixed that for you, we can go ahead and name these compounds. So here you'll write what Ca is. Ca is calcium. So the first one, you just write the element. The second one, you have to make end an IDE. So Cl is chlorine, so we'll make that end an IDE, so it'll be chloride. And that's how you name ionic bonds. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. It just depends on what element you're talking about. So B is boron, so we'll just write boron. S is sulfur, but it needs the end in IDE, so it'll be sulfide. So that's how you name simple binary ionic bonds. So if you look in your digital notebook, for simple binary, the first half I give you the name and you'll have to write the compound. Second half I give you the compound and you'll have to write the name. So let's do this first one together. Now if you would rather work this out in paper and then just write your answers in your digital notebook, I am perfectly fine with that. That way you can do all your crisscrossing there. That's fine. So barium chloride, we have Ba and we need to find that charge. So let's find Ba. Ba is right here in this second column. So that would be a +2 charge. So +2 charge. To make an exponent, you hit Control period, and that makes that an exponent for you. Okay, and then we have chloride, which is Cl. If you look at Cl, is right here in this last column because we don't, noble gases don't have a charge. So that would be a -1 charge. So -1 charge. So now we need to crisscross those charges. That Ba goes with the Cl. And that, or the 2 goes with the Cl, and then the 1 goes with the Ba. So since we know that, our answer would be BaCl2. To make something a subscript, you hit Control, comma. All right, so you'll need to do the rest of those. Now for this second half, you just name it. So you figure out what element K is. You can do that by looking at the periodic table. K is potassium. So you write potassium down. And then the second element always needs to end in IDE. We know oxygen is O, so we would need to end that in IDE, so it would be oxide. So you'll need to name the rest of those.